大嫌いこれ。めんどくさい。ダサすぎ。Man, I do not like this video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. This is where a foreigner is dancing on the train station in Japan. And in this video, I want to definitely just, first and foremost, I don't like it. I don't agree with what he did. I totally understand the backlash he's receiving. So I hopefully make that clear. But also I want to explain for foreigners or Americans that go to Japan and they understand or they don't understand why this is a problem. Hopefully to shed some light to Japanese culture so you can understand why this went the way that it did and why he's getting the backlash. So first and foremost, my channel here, I love to react to Japanese music. I love Japanese culture. I was born in Japan. I studied Japanese in college, went to Japan probably 3 or 4 times. I love Japan, man. I feel like Japan is my home. Very awesome. Watching this video was super cringy for me, and it really, really gave me secondhand embarrassment. Like, hasukashi. Like, it was just so bad. And I understand, like, the train station is some sort of a sanctuary for Japanese people, man. These are where they're commuting, sometimes work 14, 15 long hours, My friend was telling me that, he gets up at 6 in the morning, goes to the train station, doesn't get back till like 9 p.m. at night from work. And he has to travel to different, prefectures for his job. So the train's basically how he goes because it's easy for him to do that. And it's just like, all these people are taking this to go to work. It's different from like here in America to where like it's an option to ride the train station, Like you can drive your car, and especially in cities like New York, where a train station is more prevalent. A lot of people drive cars, a lot of people drive the train stations, kind of a mix of both. In Japan, it's like the majority of people ride train stations. Of course, people drive cars, but it's very expensive to drive a car. So you'll see everyday working people using the train station to commute to work. Some people are just working very long hours, and it's a very stressful situation for them to get on the train. So that time frame is just for them to be at peace with themselves, for them to prepare for what they're about to endure. I mean, the train station is a very strict place. Like, people don't even answer the phone on the train station. People aren't playing music aloud. Sometimes people aren't even talking. I mean, they even have train stations like segregated to where it's just only women are on a train car to where everybody else is on there, and they have seats that are designated for elderly or for pregnant women. Like, there's just so many things that go into as far as the culture of the train station that it's a really, kind of like a sanctuary for Japanese people, because this is what they're about to experience whenever they're going to work, coming back from home. All that to say, man, this is a place of strict rules. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, my friend, when I was in Japan, I was lost, dude, and I was trying to figure out where to go. I was calling him. He was like, hey, bro, I'm going to have to call you in like 5 minutes. I'm at the train station. I'm on the train. And he wouldn't even call me because he was on the train. And I kind of realized, like, oh, yeah. I understand, dude. Like, I understand the gravity of that. Like, you don't want to be a disruption to other people because you don't know what the next person next to you is feeling. So it's just that respect for other people. So that's why this guy's getting that backlash here, because one, he's interacting with people that don't want to be interacted with. And he's doing this in a place to where people, again, don't even answer the phone on the train. So for you to have your phone out playing music and then dancing is just wild, dude. So I know, like, in America, man, we don't like content like this, honestly. Like, I mean, maybe children or teenagers do, but majority of people like my age, it's annoying for us too, but it's somewhat more acceptable. Like, I mean, for example, like, I had one guy when I was driving, he like rolled the window, was like, hey, you want to play rock, paper, scissors? And I was just like, like Jungkin Pop. I was like, nah, dude. It was so weird. Like, we were at a red light and you're just like, I don't know if they were recording or not, but like, people will do stuff like that. Like, hey, let me ask you some questions, or hey, let me do this, da 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 da. Like, it's kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's popular among young people, but it's not as bad in America. Like, we just say, nah, I'm good, or just leave me alone. And people are typically kind of respectful, but sometimes people kind of push that button too. Like, there was this one guy that I was actually shot because he was doing a prank, recording a video, and it was just like, doing all these things to this guy felt threatened, so he pulled a gun out and shot him. And that's just kind of telling you the culture of just like, sometimes American culture is just pretty crazy, dude. Like, people do all these things to get viral moments, to to be funny, you know what I'm saying? We had a whole thing called Vine. I'm sure you know what Vine is, to where people would plank in the middle of different stores and do all these things. And it's like, these things are not good, but it's sometimes acceptable because the American culture is just crazy like that. So in translation to that and being in Japan, like it's a huge world apart. It's a different world, man. Like people don't do this in Japan. People, I mean, they're like in Shinjuku, and I was in Shinjuku, and there's in Harajuku, there's people, street performers there. There's people out there dancing. Like there's definitely a place for that. And I feel like this guy missed an opportunity to build a fan base in Japan. Like if he would have done this at Shinjuku at night, where there's all these people out there doing street interviews, you know, dancing and doing things like that. Like could have been viral out there. He could have built a huge fan base out there in Japan. But doing this on the train station, man, is definitely not good, dude. And like, I don't agree with what he did here, and I don't like it. And I think that it's important for, if you're going to go somewhere, to understand the rules of that country. And in Japan, where there's a very strict society, there's a law, you know, the way of things, the flow of things, the flow of nature, the flow of society. You got to understand that if I'm doing X, Y, and Z, like I might be disrupting this, you know, what's the weight, what's the gravity of this decision that I'm making? So I wish this young man would have done that, dude. It would have been probably in his best interest. He could have had a big fan base there, could have been invited to dance on a TV show. Like it could have been a great moment for him, but because of him like not understanding Japanese culture, now he's going to be a laughing stock. Now there's going to be backlash for other foreigners. You know what I'm saying? Like I know in Kyoto, they blocked off certain sections because people were taking photos of geisha and things like that. And it's just not great, man. Furthermore, like not to really get into race, but watching this video also made me a little bit upset because I love Japanese culture and, you know, I love Japan. And watching this video made me a little nervous, man, because it was just like, I want to go to Japan. I want to continue to go to Japan, and I don't want to have to be punished for what this guy did, you know. I mean, there's a thing just against foreigners in general, you know, Japan being a homogenous, you know, society, that there being the other, which I could totally understand both sides of that coin, but in general, just foreigners being there, sometimes there can just be some apprehension just because if they don't understand or they may not know what foreigners do, you know, so just that kind of uneasy feeling sometimes. And it's not everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like I experienced the gaijin seat when I went to Japan. My first time that I went as an adult, second time, like I would get on the train, sometimes people would just get up and move, you know, sometimes like last time I went, I had the opposite problem, dude. Like people just sat next to me and like there was no problem at all, dude. So it's just like, depending on where you go, it's not always going to be a problem. But my point is, being black, man, sometimes you carry the weight of other black people's actions wherever you go. There's the experience that I had in college, man, when I was like 19, to where I was in a store, Walgreens, and dude, I was in there with my friend, and there's other black people like 2 aisles over that were being loud and just joking around, whatever, while we were shopping. And didn't care because we weren't doing anything. And the store owner came up to me and was like, "Hey, can I help you?" And I was just like, "No." And he was like, "Well, you guys need to hurry up and leave." And I was just like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, I hear you guys making all these noises, da 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 da, and like I'll call the police and everything like that." And I was just like, me and my friend looked at each other and we're just like, "What, dude?" And then, you know, I'm young and I'm 19, man. I'm like, all right, just buy my stuff and I would just leave. And like, instead of like, you know, obviously causing argument, because that's a lose-lose situation, dude. I mean, in hindsight, I definitely should have put up more of a fight or something. But at that moment, I'm just like, all right, you know, I'm 19, I'm young, I didn't know what was going on. And looking back at that was definitely discrimination because I'm being accused of something that I didn't do just because the color of my skin. But that made me realize just like, dang, dude. And I'm sure black people understand this. It's just that sometimes you're grouped together guilty by association, or you're just like looked down upon because of what other black people were doing, you know what I'm saying? And it's not, I'm just saying it's not that deep. Like I'm sure Japanese people are not going to think all black people are like this, you know what I'm saying? I know Japanese people are not going to look at a black person and think, "Oh, is this guy going to dance next to me on the train?" Like I know it's not going to be like that, but you never know. Of just like, it's just that uneasy feeling. Like I carry that sometimes, man. I carry myself in a certain type of way. And I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody. I'm just saying that I have to be cautious of how I act because I know of what my race is associated with, and I know how people think about people that look like me. So I have to have my guard up in certain situations to be like, I need to know how to articulate myself with a situation with the police. I need to know how to handle myself when I'm here in this destination because I know how I can be perceived, so I have to have that in mind. That's basically what I'm saying. So when I saw this, it made me think of like, man, I just hope that Japanese people don't have this feeling towards black people. And I'm sure they don't. But it was just a worry of mine. That's just the honest worry of mine. And I just like, man, dude, it sucks, dude. That's why this whole video, like, when I saw this, I was like, man, dude, don't ruin it for the rest of us. I feel like you're making black people look bad. And I feel like there's other black people that might come to his defense and just be like, he's just dancing, you know, it's nothing wrong with that. And it's just like, there's nothing wrong with dancing. It's just the place that you're doing it at, man. Like, there's a time and place for everything. There's a certain way that things are done. And it just wasn't done in the best way, in the best place. Again, like I said before, like if you would have did this in Shinjuku or another area, it could have been a great moment. It could have been a fun moment. It could have been something where he gained a lot of fan base. And he could have probably went famous in Japan, dude. But doing this where he did it at, dude, that's why they're wanting to take legal action now, because it's just like, you don't do that in the train station. All right, y'all, so that's really all that I gotta say. You know, hopefully this video made sense. You know, for my Japanese fan base, I want to let you know that I definitely don't like this video. I definitely don't endorse what this guy did here. I understand how Japanese culture works, and the train station is just not the place to play around. It's not a playground, man. I get it. And for my American fan base and for my fan base that, you know, are foreigners, hopefully it makes more sense. It's just that Japanese culture is done a certain type of way to where the train station, of all places, is just not a place to where people play around and mess around. Dancing and listening to music and have your phone playing out, no. So let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you thought about the other video. You know, do you have strong feelings towards that? Do you have strong feelings towards foreigners? Do you not want foreigners in Japan? Like, let me know everything that you're feeling. Let me know what you feel about what I said. I'm happy to hear your thoughts. 皆さん、以上です。ありがとうございます。これでおしまい。また今度ね。